This is a plant called Meadowsweet, and it's actually growing all the way along the lake here with these lovely kind of creamy blossoms, which are really, they form a sight that's very typical of July, this time of year. Just after the elderflower is finished, out comes the Meadowsweet, and particularly in East Sussex and West Kent, it's a very typical plant of damp places. Now the name is slightly confusing because it actually doesn't grow in meadows. We're technically on the edge of a meadow here, but there's no meadowsweet on the actual meadow. The reason for this is that the name of the plant used to be meadsweet, and then a scribe copied it wrong from one book to another, and it came out as meadowsweet. But meadsweet refers to the fact that this used to be used to flavour mead, the honey beverage, and it does smell a little bit like honey. It's also a little bit almondy. It has a compound called coumarin in it, which is kind of almond vanilla, but the flavour is quite complex, and also it has a compound called salicylic acid, which forms the basis for aspirin. Now aspirin for some people causes real discomfort in the stomach because it kind of attacks the lining of the stomach. But the amazing thing with meadowsweet, even though it has that compound in it, it actually, if you drink a meadowsweet tea or eat some meadowsweet, it coats the lining of the stomach so that you don't have this effect. And it just goes to show there's a difference between eating a whole plant thing, an extract from a whole plant, and having a chemical that's been synthesized or extracted in a lab. So the flowers are a lovely kind of flavouring or spice. They're really nice for puddings, for custard, ice cream. You can make a syrup out of them. But they're also nice as a savoury spice. They're good with sweet corn. I make a kind of bean broth with a few other things in there, but the meadowsweet makes a lovely complement to the beans. And then you've got the leaves, which they're quite astringent, and they contain a compound called oil of wintergreen, which is used in sweets. And you can use this in salads. It goes quite nicely with sort of rich and fatty things like liver pate, for example. But what I like to use both parts of the plant for is to make a tea. So at this time of year, I'm harvesting leaves and flowers, and also we harvest some of the leaves a bit earlier when they're a bit more bushy. And we dry them, chop them up a bit, mix them together, and they make a lovely tea.